Look at what he's done on catch-and-shoot three-point attempts during the season and the playoffs, trying nearly 6 a game so far in the postseason, knocking down nearly half of those at just under 47%. It just so happens we have someone here on the panel who played with Steph Curry 2 years ago in Golden State. What did you learn about trying to guard him, first of all, in practice, and now as an opponent?
He's by far the best shooter I've ever seen. Catching and shooting, coming off the dribble. He just does it in a few different ways. Normally when you have a shooter of his caliber, the one thing they say is run him off the line.
Right.
But he's a guy that can put the ball on the floor and still make plays, shooting random floaters, creating assists, opportunities for teammates. So with that kid, man, you just got to do your best. Trapping him may work sometimes, but he's a willing and able passer. So, you know, he's still a mystery to the league, as you can see, and that's why he was the guy holding up the MVP trophy at the end of the season.
Did you find anything defensively that was effective against him, having spent so much time around him?
Man, hoping he was sick or something like that. Other than that, man, you pretty much could book whatever he was averaging for the season. He was going to give it to you every night and, you know, bring the energy and effort as a leader there too as well.
Jarrett, I have a question. I mean, we've watched his shooting, obviously, one of the best, like you say, we've all seen. But talk about now, because he played off the ball a lot with you. His decision-making now, to me, has improved as a point guard, and I think people don't give a lot of credit. His defensive presence and his defensive intensity has gone to another level. So I wouldn't say he's a great defender, but I think he's made leaps and bounds as far as right now is he can guard his guy.
And more often guarding his own position.
And guarding his own position now.
Yeah.
He's a competitive kid. You know, he hears the talk about people saying, well, he's great on offense, but defense isn't his thing. And he takes on the challenge. You know, they said the same thing as far as him being able to lead a group, you know, a championship caliber type group. And he's a kid that wants to be the best in all phases of the game. And as you said, you know, he stepped up, especially on the defensive floor, wanted to carry his own weight. You got guys out there like Draymond, Clay, Bogut, and he wanted to be mentioned in them same circles as well.
What kind of work is he, Jarrett? We see a lot of people say that he's the first one in the gym, last one in the league. Does he shoot that way in practice too? Because people don't understand where it starts in the practice floor. We hear Steve Kerr talk about, obviously, we went around Steve Kerr last year, but they talk about how Steph, after practice, still goes and puts up hundreds of shots after practice.
Yeah, you know, he's a guy who's naturally gifted, but also is a product of hard work as well. So when you add that combination of, and this is something we used to say with late nights and early mornings, man, he's tough to beat. You know, he's a student of the game. He appreciates each and every moment. But he definitely goes in there and fine-tunes his craft before practice, after practice, before shoot-around, after. And it's not an accident that this kid shoots the ball the way he does.
Where do you think he's evolved the most over the past year or so, from a really good player, from an all-star caliber player to an MVP?
You know what? I think vocally. You know, I think we've all known what he can do as far as playing on the court. I think the stance of him stepping out and helping the team march to his own drum. You know, them understanding that this is his team and his voice was necessary and needed to be heard. And he goes out there and he gives them a reason, you know, for them to want to follow him. And I think that's very important. You have a lot of guys that want to lead, but you don't necessarily give people a reason to want to follow you. And I think he's a great example for the league. Definitely happy and well-deserved that he won the MVP award this year.
Steve Kerr has talked about just that thing, about prompting him a little bit to be a little more vocal in practice. And apparently you made an impact on Steph Curry as well. Jarrett specifically got a shout-out from Curry during his MVP acceptance speech.
The leader I learned from the most, probably Jarrett Jack had a big influence on me when he was here.
That's big.
How about that?
That's big.
That's tough, man. Real humbling. You know, I always would just stay in his ear. You know, 'cause Steph's a quiet kid, not a boisterous kid by nature, but just, you know, telling him to understand it's paramount that your voice is heard. You know, on a day-by-day basis, it needs to be necessary, and people need to understand that your voice, not in an unbearable or annoying way, but you need to let them know what the tone and what the temperature is for Golden State basketball. Period, point blank, from start to finish. And it's going to start with you, it's going to end with you.
And despite that relationship, business is business, and you gave your old team the business. This was back on March 2nd.
Jack against Curry. We're down to 10 seconds left. Watch the first dribble. Oh, he went for it. Curry defending Jack. 3 seconds. 2 seconds. Jack. Got it! 1.1 on the clock. Jarrett Jack delivers.
How'd he still give you the shout out at the speech, even after all that?
Yeah, I Steph Curry'd Steph Curry, right?
Yeah. What was that dance at the end?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Let me see that. Is that a Georgia Tech thing?
Nah, man, me and Joe Johnson had a little thing. We was choreographing, whenever we hit a late game bucket, man. We had was one thing called the Thigh Wild Shuffle going on. So, Joe, what's up, baby?
Hashtag, huh?
And of course, when I said it,
There you have it.
Hey, look at Joe.
Thigh up shuffle, as you call it, thigh up shuffle.
Who knew that had a name?